Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Metcalf and I watch the film so you don't have to. On this video, we're taking a look at Terrence Shannon Jr., who is off to an incredible start out in Vegas for Summer League for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Wolves lost a huge piece in Nickeil Alexander-Walker in free agency as he went to the Atlanta Hawks and got a well-deserved payday. What that means for the Wolves, though, is that they're losing a huge piece in their rotation, and they desperately need someone to step up in a big way. The leading candidate for that is Terrence Shannon Jr. And I know it's cool. He's dominating at Summer League, and yeah, I know he's about to turn 25. So even though he's going into his second year, he's not necessarily a youngster. He should be dominating at his age. But dominating isn't enough. What's so impressive and meaningful is how he's doing it. Let's take a look at the film, see how Shannon is being deployed and empowered in different ways than what we saw him used as a rookie, and what that means for his role going into the regular season. Welcome to Film School. Let's dive in. So we're not going to bury the lead here. We're immediately going to focus on how Shannon is being used in a different way than what he was as a rookie. Now, it obviously took some time for Shannon to carve out some minutes in the rotation, but even late in the playoffs, Shannon was consistently getting some really quality minutes for the Wolves as that spark plug off the bench. Throughout college, he was an incredible downhill threat, got to the rim a ton. He's a walking paint touch. And that's pretty much only how he was used as a rookie. When he was given the ball, it was, hey, get downhill, get to the rim, push in transition, push the pace, try and put pressure on the defense, and get to the rim. Because not many other guys on this team can consistently do that outside of Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, Naz Reid, but those guys do it in a bit of a different way. What we're seeing from Shannon, though, now is a little more of what we saw from him at Illinois, where, yes, he's being empowered to get downhill. He has the green light. He's being instructed to be aggressive, but they're also letting him play make a little more. The ball's being put in his hands, and he's using that rim pressure to get to the rim, to get to the paint, collapse the defense, not only for himself and to get to the line. He's doing plenty of that. We'll get to the scoring in a minute. But he's doing it now to create for others. And the importance of that is that as we transition into the regular season in a couple months, that is going to open up better shots for Rob Dillingham, Anthony Edwards, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, Julius Randle, Naz Reid. It's going to open up a ton of cleaner looks for those guys who don't have to create shots for themselves on the perimeter as much because Shannon's driving and kicking, but it also is going to create opportunities for guys, for really good rim runners and cutters like Rudy Gobert, Johan Berenger. So let's take a look at some of the playmaking and how Shannon is elevating and being empowered. So from here, Dillingham drives, gets cut off, kicks it out to Shannon, and he's just like, all right, let's just go. We're going downhill. And this is how easy it is for him. Just right off the catch, straight line drive, attacks against the defender's high foot here, forces him to flip his hips. Once Shannon gets a step or two, he's gone. He is so fast, and he just gets to the lane at will. He gets really low, explodes through his drive, does a great job securing the ball through the help dig, through his primary dig, and the ability to get to the restricted area in the blink of an eye forces this late rotation from the rim protector. Shannon makes a heady play, finds Jesse Edwards there in the dunker spot, dumps it off, no bucket, but they get the foul all because he was able to get to the paint in the blink of an eye. Again, now they're running some set stuff for him. Shannon's probably not going to be getting backup point guard minutes, but being used off ball and put in motion to get downhill and generate that momentum early is a really good way to get him easier paint touches where he doesn't have to get it out of thin air. He's able to be put in motion, use a screen to get downhill. So we have a little DHO into a high pick and roll. And from here, Jeremiah Fears gets caught on the screen. Yves Missy isn't really helping Fears out at all here, and Shannon has a massive driving lane. As he gets downhill, gap coverage, Missy starts to rotate over. Shannon's too big, too strong, too athletic, fights through this weak gap help. Now that he's at the rim, he simulates that he's going up for a layup, but he knows that Jesse Edwards is rim running here. He throws it high, gets it over the outstretched hand of Messi. If he goes for an awkward layup here, Messi probably blocks it, or it's a tough miss. Instead, he floats it up to Jesse Edwards. Easy dunk. Now envision him doing this with Rudy Gobert or Baron J. Here we see him initiating the offense right away, and it's that just initial step and the strength. So crosses over, and from here, once he gets the defender on his hip, it is almost impossible for them to get back rimside because of Shannon's size and strength. So he's going to put his defender in jail for about 40 to 50 feet here. You know, a little high dribble, but whatever. You're shielding off a defender for 3/4 of the court. I'm going to be a little more lenient. That ability to get by his defender with ease forces Derek Queen to step up here. He gets caught in no man's land. Again, Jesse Edwards, high hand. He knows that his man is stepping up, that he's in no man's land. Shannon sees it, puts on the brakes, decelerates, throws it up to where only Edwards can get it. Edwards doesn't have to do much of anything with it. It's all generated just by that pure, raw strength and athleticism from Shannon and that ability to get to the paint whenever he wants. Ball swings, defender gambles, and again, clear runway. Now Shannon's in a 2v1 situation and catches his defender stepping up here. As the defender steps, Shannon knows he's going to be caught in no man's land, so why bother risking a passing crash or a bad floater or a bad mid-range pull-up? That's not his game. He knows that. So instead, once the defender gets caught in no man's land, that ball's getting lofted up. Easy dunk. High pick and roll. Does a great job here initially getting Micah Peavy to try and fight through that screen. And then Shannon crosses over really quickly, denies it, ends up reusing it, gets a better runway, getting downhill, and exact same thing. This ability to dispatch his primary defender on a screen, a blow-by, putting them in jail, is going to force these secondary rotations and those help defenders to step up 9 times out of 10. If they don't, Shannon's getting to the rim or getting to the foul line. When they do step up, he's showcasing throughout Summer League that ability to now loft a really soft pass up to his rookie teammate Baron J here. Easy dunk. When he gets those easy paint touches, he puts the help rim protectors in a tough position. Again, now I know it's just Summer League with some of these guys, and Queen's a rookie, Missy's still just a second-year guy, but Missy was starting for the Pelicans for almost all the entire season. So he really doesn't have an excuse in a lot of these. But it's going to be really tempting for rim protectors to step up and not get caught in that no man's land. High pick and roll, gets downhill, and now we're starting to see some of that playmaking versatility out of these drives. So his defender goes over the screen here, and we see him turn on the jets as he gets downhill. He sees the drop defender in his way, doesn't force it. He knows Jalen Clark's out here in the corner, sees the weak side defender has a foot in the paint. That's enough for him, kicks it out. Now, Jalen Clark's not an elite shooter by any means, but instead try and envision these shooters as Anthony Edwards, as Mike Conley, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Jaden McDaniels even, and the idea and the results get a lot more encouraging. Shot goes up, doesn't fall. High pick and roll again, and now we're seeing a little more elaborate playmaking vision. As he comes off the screen, he sees Missy's in his way, and he's looking at Fierce. He sees Amari Bailey has his hand up, and I just love that that Shannon has his head up. As a rookie, and honestly a lot of the time at Illinois, we saw him play with blinders, where he's like, all right, I'm over the screen, now I'm just getting downhill. He'll do that plenty. He'll get rewarded for it plenty. But the fact that we're seeing him already implement the vision and the willingness to hit this skip pass right on the money. Absolutely perfect pass, right in the shooting pocket. Really clean look. Great process. Exact same thing. So this time the weak side defender helps off even more. He's in the middle of the lane here because he has to tag and account for Jesse Edwards here. And Shannon doesn't waste any time, makes that live dribble skip pass with the left hand. I know it's a strong hand, but live dribble, skip pass all the way across court, right on target. The accuracy, the vision, and the decisiveness on these are so crucial. If that's Dante, shots going up. If that's Ant, shots going up. Nasri, Jaden, that shot's going up. If that's Dante or Ant in the corner here too, this defender might not be cheating over it quite as much, which then also frees up an even bigger lane for the roller to catch and get to the rim with ease. Pass on the money, Jalen punches around with it a little too much, ends up missing. And then just even on broken plays here, I just love the vision. It's all right. He knows he has a 5-on-4 advantage here. Live dribble, doesn't waste any time, lofts it over the defender, hits Jalen wide open again. Shot can't fall. Now we see him push early in transition as he crosses midcourt here. So as that pass is made, it's 3-on-4 ish, 3-on-3. As he crosses half court, he's the only Wolves player. I believe that's Dillingham on the top of the screen here. He's about even with him. But Shannon doesn't have a clear advantage here. It looks like a 1v3 situation. Doesn't matter. Barrels down, puts his head down, sprints to the lane. Nice little step through, secures the ball. Deceleration, plants that right foot. Draws the attention of all three defenders. Gets him down to the restricted area. And just makes a smart play. He doesn't force a bad shot. He knows he's not getting a whistle here. So he just kicks it out. It doesn't have the most pace, but he has the strength to pass against his momentum through the contact and hit Dillingham in a perfect spot for the wide open corner three. So Shannon isn't going to be this, backup point guard necessarily, but throughout Summer League, we're seeing the Timberwolves put the ball in his hands and allow him to explore a lot more playmaking situations that are a little more reminiscent to what we saw from Nickeil Alexander-Walker and what he'll likely be asked to do in the regular season. So the playmaking and the passing stretches and versatility that we're seeing from Shannon throughout Summer League so far have been really fun, and they've been really important, but they're almost exclusively opened up by the threat of him as an off-ball scorer. We've seen Shannon have one of the greenest lights in Summer League. Now, not many guys have a tight leash in Summer League. It's an area to explore, to be aggressive, show off different parts of your game. But throughout Summer League, we're seeing Shannon be the guy. With the second unit, he has the opportunity to grow into the secondary, tertiary scoring option for the Timberwolves. We know how good he is getting downhill, and with that rim pressure, the more effective and aggressive he is, the more it opens up those drive and kick opportunities. The better and more aggressive he is shooting the ball. We know he's a streaky shooter. It wouldn't shock me if he starts out the season shooting 50% from three for the month and then completely tails off. He did it at Illinois. He did it at Texas Tech. But the fact that he's willing and aggressive is almost always going to draw those long closeouts, which then open up those driving situations. So even though we're seeing Shannon explore a little more of the playmaking situations, his primary role is still going to be likely as that off-ball play finishing wing. But the threat of the shot here draws the long closeout, and we know he has that awesome first step, drives baseline, his primary defender's gone, dusted, see you next week. And once he gets downhill, he's not shying away from anyone. He's going to go into the body. He's going to go up strong. He's going to seek contact, and he's going to try and finish through it. Defender does a good job avoiding the foul. Doesn't matter. Shannon gets the layup. But we're also seeing how aggressive he's been as a spot-up shooter. He's done a really good job relocating to open pockets on the perimeter, but I love how quick the release is here, and that's up blink of an eye. Catch, up, gone. I love the confidence. I love the decisiveness. Again, as the Wolves push and transition here, he could have easily cut to the rim, but he saw that 5 was retreating and catching up pretty quickly. You can kind of see him peek over his shoulder, like right there. And then instead of trying to crash the lane, draw that defender with him, instead he's going to just float to the corner and force the defender to make a choice. Because now by staying out here to the corner, he's also giving Bailey a little easier of a kick out, hand up. Bailey does a nice job of collapsing the defense, getting both defenders in the air, kicks out to Shannon, wide open corner three, great shot prep. I know the form is a little funky, always has been, probably always will be, but I just love the confidence and the speed of the release that he continues to have. Great job lifting out of the corner. Again, quick, decisive release. And now we see him string some of that playmaking into the off-ball scoring, pushes in transition, barrels through the defender. Great job securing that ball. Little out of control here, but does a great job of composing himself, kicking it back out to Bailey. And then instead of being complacent and being like, screwed that up, he immediately relocates to the space that Bailey just vacated and drew his defender out of. Shot ready, shot up, 3 points. And then this is something a little newer in a Timberwolves jersey. We saw him do it more at Illinois, obviously, and in college. But if he starts adding a semi-competent pull-up three to his game, it's going to be fun. I'm not saying he's going to start taking Anthony Edwards like pull-up shots or a high volume of them, but with the second unit, the occasional second side pick and roll, early transition where he doesn't get picked up, or just situations like this where they're trying to get a switch and both defenders try and go under. They don't communicate it. He takes advantage of the space they give him. And if he can consistently rise up and knock these down at a reasonable clip, it's a pretty fun addition to his scoring arsenal. We know how good he is getting downhill, and that opens up so much in his game. But we're also seeing him be really confident and aggressive and decisive as a shooter. We're seeing that shooting release continue to speed up. And then when his scoring is on and he's feeling it, it opens up so many different opportunities for him in the playmaking realm and the ability to string playmaking possessions into off-ball scoring opportunities. So where does that leave us with Terrence Shannon Jr.? The Timberwolves have a Nickeil Alexander-Walker-sized hole to fill in their rotation, and Shannon looks like the leading candidate to take those minutes. They're not a one-for-one type of player, but the Timberwolves desperately need someone who can get to the rim at will, who can play solid defense, who can push the pace, who can handle the ball, and create for others. Shannon's been doing all of that in Summer League. We know how good he is at getting to the rim. He did it throughout college. He did it last year as a rookie when he got minutes. And he did it late in the playoffs when he got minutes. Now at Summer League, we're seeing him being allowed to explore more varied playmaking situations. The rim pressure is still there. The confident off-ball shot is still there. He was a little hesitant to let it fly as a rookie last year from three. In Summer League, he has the greenest light possible, and he's letting it fly. The results aren't going to be there. He's always been a streaky shooter. Odds are that will continue. But as long as he's aggressive and decisive with those off-ball shots, you live with the results because it opens up so many other facets of his game. His athleticism and physicality allow him to defend multiple positions, and the fact that they're allowing him to explore those various playmaking situations is really encouraging for what it could mean for his role with the bench unit and the second unit next season. Shannon is a really intriguing player. I get that he's about to be 25. He should be dominating Summer League. But what matters is how he's doing it. And it's in a way that is replicable, repeatable, and applicable to how he's going to be used with the Timberwolves next season.